Hello, class. Welcome to pre-algebra. This is lesson 1.4. Today, we're talking about addition. All right, addition, as you know, is a very, very simple concept. If I have, let's say, $1 here, and I add it to another dollar, I would get a grand total of $2. All right, you can write addition in the linear flat way. You could also write it in the vertical stacking. If you have 2 of something plus another 2 of something, mathematically with numbers, this is how you could represent it. 2 plus 2 is $4. You could also represent it with shapes. I've got 1, 2 of something, and I'm adding another 2. All I need to do is count them all together to find out how much I have. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, that's 4. Altogether, we have $4. We know how to do that. We also know how to do larger numbers, such as, let's say, 10 plus 1. Very simple idea if you're going to use stacking. You start in the ones place, which is over here, right? You have 0 ones, so nothing, plus 1. Altogether, you now have 1. And then you move over to the tens place, and you say, all right, it's 1 plus nothing is 1. Does 10 plus 1 equal 11? Sure enough, yes it does, right? $10, a $10 bill added to a $1 bill will give you 11 total dollars, right? Okay, so we got the basics. Let's get into some definitions. So if I was told to add 435, let's say chickens. Imagine 435 chickens, and I wanted to add them to 47 other chickens. How many total chickens would I have? All right, so a couple things to know. Each of these numbers that you put into an addition problem are called add-ins. The things you literally add in, add-ins, right? When you add 2 or more add-ins together, you will get an answer called the sum. And for our purposes, all you need to know is that the sum is the answer to an addition problem. Okay, so now let's do the problem itself. Again, we start at the very back. This is just one way of doing addition, by the way. You start at the very back and you add the ones places together. So you have 5 ones plus 7 ones, right? So I've got 5, and I add another 5. That gives me 10, plus another 2. That gives me 12, right? 5 plus 5 is 10. 10 plus 2 is 12. That's the same thing as 5 and adding 7. So I put the 2 down here, right, which is in the ones place for 12. And then I take the tens place, which would be the 1 in the 12, and I put it on the top of the tens place where it belongs, right? I don't add it down here because that's not really what's going on. What's really going on is that I'm taking that 10 that I created and I'm pushing it over to the tens place. So I've got now a 10 plus a 3. Well, technically it's a 10 plus a 30, or 1 plus 3 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Altogether, you have 82. And then I carried nothing over, so it's just 482. Now, how do I check that? I can simply do subtraction, but we're not there yet, so we'll wait for the next video. But there's another way I could do 435 plus 47. If you're like me, you like to use nice clean numbers. So here's another way I could do 435 plus 47. I can understand from our earlier lessons how much is in each of these things. So the 400 has 4 hundreds in it, okay? It has 10 or 3 tens, so 30, and it has 5 ones, right? 435 if I break it out. And I add those to this section here. I've got a 40, I've got 4 tens for 40, and I've got 7 ones for the one spot. If I just add those across, I'd get on the top 400 plus nothing, right? There's no other 100 here, so it's just 400. Then 30 plus 40, I go just across. 30 plus 40 is 3 and 4, which is 7. And then 5 and 7, which gives me 12, right? It's not 12 ones, so it's technically a 1 and a 2, right? That's the 1 in red stands for a 10, right? Just like the 7 in red stands for 7 tens. And now I just add these up. So I say, all right, what is 400 plus 70? That's 470. What's 470 plus 12? Well, I could even do simpler, right? I can do 470 plus 10 first, because there's a 10 and 12. And that would give me 480. And then I add the last 2, which would be 482. Now it looks like the second step I did was a lot longer. It is when you're writing it out. However, it is a little bit more accurate because sometimes when we have multiple numbers in the stacking section, we start getting lost as to what goes where. So this is not to say that you have to use the breakout grouping method or the stacking method. It's just giving you different options. But either way, you're going to get the same answer. You should get the same answer. All right, let's try another number. Let's try 965. 965 plus 395. Find the sum, right? X is the sum. What is it? The SUM. Well, all right, if I'm going to use stacking, I will draw 965 and then 395 matching up the ones, the tens, and the hundreds. So let me actually draw them in color so that you know what goes with what. All right, so I start again at the back, and I say, all right, add the ones together. A 5 plus a 5 is a 10, right? So I keep the 0, which is in the ones place, and I move the 1 that was in the tens to the tens spot. And now I say, what is 10 plus 6, or 10 plus 60, right? Or 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 9 is 16, so I keep the 6, and I move the which is technically now 100, right? Because it's actually 10 plus 60 plus 90. 10 plus 60 is 70, 70 plus 90 is 160. I kept the 10 from the 60, from the 160, and I moved the 100 to the 100 spot. And now I've got the 1 plus 9 is 10, so 100 plus 9 is 900 is 1,000. 1,000 plus 300 is 1,300. Or 1 plus 9 is 10. 10 plus 3 is 13. Like I said, 1,300 or 1,360. Okay? So you just keep taking, you just move the 1 over each time. 1,360. Let's see what that looks like if I write it out. If I've got 900s. So here's what the number is, right? It's 965, and now I'm going to spread it out. 900 plus 60 plus 5, that gives you 965. And I'm going to add that to 300 plus 90 plus 5. So that's going to give me 300 and then it's going to give me a 90, and that's going to give me a 5. Now all I need to do is add them across the colors, right? So 900 plus 300, you could also go backwards if you wanted to, right? You could say, all right, what's 5 plus 5? 5 plus 5 is 10. What's 90 and 60? 90 and 60 is 150. What's 900 plus 300? That's 1200, right? 9 plus 3 is 12, so 1200. 1200 is another way to say that. Now I can simply add these together. That's 0, 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5, 5 plus 1 is 6. 2 plus 1 is 3. And drop the 1, 1360 on both ends. We are still good to go. So there are different ways you can do this. Let's see if I can draw it a different way so people have one more option. All right, let's try to add 438 to 697. I'm going to try one final way to add these two together. I'm going to go, first I'm going to create the color coding for these so that you can track what's going on. All right, 438 plus 697. So I've got a 400 here, and I'm going to add that to the 600 over here. 4 plus 6 is 10, so that's 1,000. All right. So that takes care of the hundreds. Then I have a 30 plus a 90. A 30 plus a 90, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's 120. I just added a 0 to that 12 because we're in the 10 spot. That takes care of the 3 and the 9. And then the 8 and the 7 is 8 plus 7, and that equals 7 plus 7 is 14. 14 plus 1 more for the 8 would give us 15. All right, now all I have to do is add down the line. What this does is just gives us easier numbers to work with, right? Instead of having to do 7s and 5s and 3s and 2s, now we're just dealing with small, easy numbers like 5s, 0s, and 1s. 0 plus 0 is 0. 0 plus 5 is 5. 0 plus 2 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. That's my 10 spot. 0 plus 1 is 1. That's my 100 spot. And 1 by itself is 1. 1,135 should be our answer. Let's check doing it the old-fashioned way. 438 plus 697. See what I mean? This is a little harder because 7 plus 8 is 15. We know that because we just did it. Carry the 1 over. 1 plus 3 is 4. Actually, we could do 1 plus 9 first, which give us 10. 10 plus 3 was 13. Carry the 1. 6 and 4 is 10. 10 plus 1 is 11. 1,135, 1,135. All right, that is addition. So what did we learn today? We learned that we could use two different forms of adding. We could use what I like to call stacking, where you just put two numbers on top of each other, and then you start at the back, and then you move your way forward to get a sum. We learned that you can use grouping, which is when you take the parts of a number and you break them up into their place values and add them together. And then we learned that you, when you add two numbers together, the numbers you add together are called the addends, the things that you literally add in, and then that the answer is called a sum. Just like when you go to the store and they give you the sum total. I should write that cleaner. Sum total of all your items. All right, that's the end of lesson 1.4. We will see you in 1.5. Stay classy, San Diego.